Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be looking at D3 chaining methods and functions of data. So let's get started. So before we start off, let's go on and create up a copy of our template page that we had before, and I'll call this something like chaining func data. And then let's go on and go into our chaining func data. Let's look at, okay, we have our index and we have our example JS documentation. Let's go on and open this up. And we need D3 here, and we're going to go to our chaining function. I'm going to go and open that up as well. And then let's go on and open both of these up. Okay, so again, let's just kind of go over some of what we're going to be talking about a little bit. So in a lot of examples that we've kind of talked about before, all right, we've already started kind of using the chaining method. And that's something like, let me go here and we can do something like D3 dot select body dot append some paragraph and some attribute here, and let's say we want the style here to be color navy, for example, and this is a comma here. Now this is part of this is the chaining method. Again, you can see here that we can put these on a new line and they're still going to run because, again, it doesn't really care about white space. Now, another thing that we can do, and again, we can also do things without this said chaining method that we've been using throughout. Okay, and we can do this in a little bit by storing everything inside of its own variable. So something like var body L for element here, and something like D3 dot select body, and then we can do var here paragraph D3, or well, we can do body element dot append p, and then again we can do something like par dot text let's learn to code. Okay, and again, let me go on and actually maybe start up a server so that we can see our examples here. Let's go on to localhost 8000. And again here, okay, so let's learn to code. So this still works. Okay, using this kind of more like slightly a functional approach. Okay, saving everything inside of a paragraph. Now, for the most part, again, you can actually, let me show this with the chaining method. Again, we don't need this. We don't need this. We don't need this. I'll put this over here. And this. So again, this, let me change this text. Okay, so again, you can see here, let's learn to code, and do something like, welcome to data science for everyone. Okay, and we can refresh this and you can see now that it changes as well. So they both work, okay, the same way. Probably throughout the series, I'm probably just going to be using the chaining method, unless we get to some really long scripts. And when we start getting into some longer scripts, I have a tendency to want to save everything more in an object-oriented format, so storing everything in objects or in making up more functions and doing functional programming and that sort of thing. So just kind of let you guys know that there are different ways to do it, just whatever you feel comfortable with. Using that more variable method or that functional programming method is sometimes great for new programmers. When you make a lot of mistakes, it'll help you kind of be able to pinpoint where your mistakes are, kind of in the chain. All right, so the next thing that we're going to want to talk about is kind of functional data. okay, or the function of data itself. So in the previous video, we talked about DOM manipulation. Now, again, we have all types of DOM manipulation elements, such as append and style and text, like we're using here, right? Now, we can, each of these functions themselves, okay, so each of these are functions, they're methods in this instance. Now, it can also be a function of data. Okay, so, and that's something that is very interesting, because here, notice that we just put in some text and they're taking in a single argument. Okay, that's great and all, but, all right, maybe we want to do something like, let's just call this some function D, okay, and we want to return D, where D, whoops, I don't know why I did that. I want it to be in here. Okay, because that's a variable. Now, again, here where D is some sort of data function, okay? So, and this would, here we're creating just some anonymous function. Now, again, some of you will say, oh, then maybe I'll do an arrow function. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Okay, and we'll go into more of that later on when we talk about D3 troubleshooting. But so let's just consider this example first, okay? Now, one thing that we can do, we can have multiple parameters, all right? And this is a great way to be able to manipulate data. We can also say, for example, we want something like D and I. So here we would have the data itself. I would maybe represent some sort of index. And let's go on and do something like maybe set up some sort of console log function in here. So, and let's say that we want D, okay, plus D, whoops. And then let's do something like I, so we'll have the index of that data, okay, plus I here, and then we can say something like, actually, you know what, let's leave it, no, let's also just have a return statement for the data object of D, so that we can kind of play with it. Now, one thing that we need to do here, if you've noticed here, we do not have any data, and as we had talked about in the previous lecture, we hadn't called the data function, okay? So let's go on and save var data here, and again, we'll just have an array for now. Let's do 1, 2, no, let's do 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, so that we can kind of see what's going on with this example. We're going to go on and select the body. Then we want to go on and let's say that we want to do something like select all of P. Now we're also, so this is what's going to be happening here, okay? We don't actually need an append in here because we're just changing with the select all dot data, okay? Because we need to be able to access this data here, okay? And we'll call, and it's taking in data. You know what? Let me change this up instead of data. Let me change it to dat R for data array, so that we don't get them mixed up. And then I think this is going to be enough for now. So let's go on and go back over here and run this. All right, so notice here, nothing actually happened, okay? But if I go and I inspect the element and we go to the console here, let me rerun it. It did not, excuse me. Oh, let me check what did we miss here? We have our return D function. We have our body. We have a select all P. Oh, and you know what? Here, look, I'm selecting all of the P, but if I go back over to my HTML here, I don't have anything. So let me go on and put this in, because I'm just putting in a couple in here for now. Okay, and we'll also see about doing something like with some dynamic properties and that type of stuff here in a second. So if we go back over and we right click, now notice here what happened. 6, 5, 4. Okay, now but notice here when let me reload, we have 6. Can you guys see that a little bit? All right, that's about as big as I can make it there. So here we have something like 6, 0, 5, 1, 4, 2. And again, it's going through every single iteration. We only have 3 paragraph tags. And so it's only going to iterate over however many P's, so however many paragraph tags are available to it. Okay, so again, here it was 6, 0, 5, 1, 4, 2. Again, we only have 3 tags, so it's only going to go up to the 3rd index here, or index 2. So that is going to be something that we need to kind of keep in mind when we are wanting to log data. Again, we're not creating up those elements through this loop, okay? What we're doing is inputting text that we have, so this D, okay? So maybe we could even change this and say something like data point, let's say something like I plus is space plus. Okay, so if I go back over here and I rerun this, whoops, and I need another space in here, space. So if I rerun this again, data point 0 is 6, data point 1 is 5, data point 2 is 4. Now again, if we wanted to have more of these, again, we can add more p tags if we want. Okay, or again, we can make these dynamically, and we'll talk about how to do those dynamically a little bit later on. But let's actually go back over here and talk about what's happening more here. So again, we have this parameter D here, okay, and this gives us our data element from inside of here. Okay, we have the I element, okay, which is going to give us the index location of said numbers. And again, this is giving this particular array of this array that we are giving, this data array, okay, that we are grabbing with the data function. Now, again, this data function does provide data to the selected elements, okay, so that's actually going to any of our selected elements. Here we're able to put those in once we have selected them. And we'll learn much more about this data function, probably, I don't know, in maybe 1 or 2 more videos, and we'll be talking about data binding and that type of stuff. So let's go into maybe a little bit more, let's say some dynamic properties here. So let's say that instead of having all of this, let's have something like warning, you are entering a restricted or a dangerous area. Okay, and then P here, danger, you need to turn back. Okay, so let's say that we have this type of sentence structure in here. We already have kind of a basic website design built up. And so then you want to actively change maybe the coloring of this text, okay? And maybe you want to turn this to like some orange or yellow color for a warning, and then danger you want to turn into red. Well, then we can go on and do that. if we, and let me go in and just start up a whole new section in here. I'll comment this out and we'll start up a new piece here. So let's see, d3.select all, and we want to grab each of the paragraph tags .style, because we're going to be changing the style or the color. All right, now here, instead of putting in something like fire brick, okay, because if I did that and I go over here and I run this, nothing's actually going to pop out for me, okay, because again, it's just, it's not actually doing anything just yet, okay? So we want to actually tell it to do something. So let's do some function here, an anonymous function, where it takes in some data, and it takes in I. And then we also are going to do something like var text here is equal to this dot inner text. Now, this, okay, is actually going to be referring to whatever item is selected. Okay, so here it's grabbing, it's going to be grabbing, okay, you know what, let me do that really quickly so you can see this. Let me do log this, okay, and let me, excuse me. We need, oh, whoops, dot select body select all. There we go. Excuse me. Why didn't it like that? Let's double check this, because this should be able to print out this statement for us. Did I accidentally turn off the, nope, it's still running. Okay, so let me double check here. All right, we're selecting D3, we're selecting the body. Oh, okay, so that needs to be a string, guys. So notice here it is whenever I tell it to console log this, okay, it's actually selects whatever that selected P is. Okay, so it's grabbing each of those P tags. Now, and again, so you can double check they're matching. So this one's warning, you're entering a dangerous area, danger, you need to turn back. So if I go through and I do something like dot inner HTML, okay, and I have it, oh, not inner HTML, I want inner text here. And I run this, notice that it actually grabs that string itself that we have. So that'll be very useful to us. So we can actually go through and actually do something with that. So let's say that we want a var text here is equal to this dot inner text, and then we want to do something like, let's make an if statement here, and we want it so that we can go back here. So warning. So warning, let's say that we want to make the text here orange, and then here danger, if that first word is danger, we want it to be that we want all of this to maybe turn red. So if we do something like if text dot index of, because we're wanting to grab that first index, and let's say we want it of warning, okay, is greater than or equal to 0. So basically, if warning is anywhere inside of that particular sentence or that paragraph, okay, we'll return orange, okay, and then we'll do something like else if here, oh, whoops, else if, a little bit of OCD popping up here, and we do something like if text.index of is, what did we say? Danger. Okay, and it is anywhere inside of there. So greater than equal to 0 here. Then we want that to return, and again, I'm going to do my favorite here, fire brick. So what's happening then is we're going to be grabbing each of our sentences. We're grabbing the index of whatever this warning is. So if warning is anywhere inside of the text, it'll turn it orange. And then the same thing is that if danger is anywhere inside of this text, then it's going to return fire brick. So notice that works here. And let me want to get rid of this. And you can see that they both changed to the way that we thought that they would. This is anytime warning is going to be in the sentence, it's going to turn that to some orange color. And then danger here is going to be turning to fire brick. And again, how this is working is we have our style function or our method here. We're using this, this kind of a, let's just call it a callback function for more or less of what it is. And it is grabbing in, or more of a helper function, and it's grabbing and it's selecting in whatever data. Now the data here is actually not a data source, but it is this data that we are grabbing from this our p tags, okay? And so that's technically the data that we're working with here is this. Text data as well. And then we're going to be looping through here, and again, having this outcome be whatever color that we want. And again, you could change this to something like, instead of style, we could change it to the background. Okay, you could change the background of each of them, and you could have that color. Let's actually give that a try real quick and see if that's something that we would want to maybe do. Maybe that's a little bit more, maybe more vibrant. Okay, so we run this, and now notice here that we have these lines, and notice it's going to do the whole line here. So again, so maybe fire brick wouldn't necessarily be the best because you can't really see it, and you'd want to maybe change this to red. Okay, so that's a little bit brighter, and now you can see it. But you can change it any way you want. You can make them bold, you can make them emphasis, you can make them anything. And so this is very useful to you guys when you want to have these dynamic properties in your documents, particularly let's say that you're setting stuff up for a dashboard and you want to say, oh, if maybe you're doing some regression or something like that, and if, for example, it's the value is going to wind up being negative, or you're going to be being at a loss or something, you want to change that area to bold, underlined, with an emphasis, as well as having it saying danger pop up. Okay, that can be very useful to you in those instances as well. So I hope you guys like this. If you did, comment, subscribe, hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.